Have you ever sat quietly in your favorite chair, looking out the window at the world, and thought, there are things I've felt for years, but maybe it's better to just keep them inside? If you have, you're not alone. Getting older brings a special kind of wisdom, a quiet understanding that not everything needs to be said out loud, even to the people we care about most. Especially to the people we care about most. As parents, we've spent so much of our lives giving everything we had to our children. From their first steps to their first heartbreaks, we were there. We gave up time, energy, even our own dreams just to give them a better future. And we did it all with love. But now, as the years pass and we start reflecting more, a new question shows up. What should we say out loud and what's better left unsaid? This isn't about hiding who we are. It's about understanding that sometimes silence is kindness, a way of sparing those we love from tarrying our regrets, disappointments, or the aches we've come to live with in our bodies and memories. In this honest talk, I want to speak with you, just us, like old friends, about 7 things we may feel the urge to share with our kids, but perhaps shouldn't, not because we're ashamed, but because part of wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to simply be present. Let's start with something many of us hold quietly in our hearts, the feeling of blaming our own parents for how life turned out. It's easy when we look back to think, if only my dad had worked harder, or if my mom had shown more support, things might have turned out better. I've heard those thoughts whispered with sadness, and I felt them too, in quiet moments. But the truth is, our parents, just like us, did their best with what they knew. They had flaws. They made mistakes. So have we. Passing that blame down to our children, sharing those old wounds, can do more harm than we think. When we speak that kind of blame aloud, especially in front of our kids, we're not just being honest. We're teaching a message. We're telling them it's okay to hold on to resentment, to look back and assign blame for the way life turned out. And what does that do to them? It plants the idea that they too might be blamed one day, that we might expect them to carry our emotional weight. That's not the legacy we want to leave behind. Instead, we can offer an example of grace. We can say, they weren't perfect, but they did the best they could, and they loved me. That kind of grace doesn't rewrite the past, but it gives it new meaning. It helps release our kids from the heaviness of old pain and gives them a future that feels lighter. Another thing we may feel tempted to talk about, especially during moments of frustration, is disappointment in our spouse. Maybe you've been married for 30, 40, even 50 years, and let's be real, marriage isn't always smooth. There are hard days, hurt feelings, and disappointments that stack up quietly over time. But those thoughts, as valid as they are, don't need to be said in front of our children. You might think, they're adults, they'll get it. And maybe they will. But understanding doesn't mean it won't sting. When we say things like, I could have married better, or I wasted my best years, even offhandedly, we shake the foundation they built their family memories on. Whether they're 6 or 60, our children want to believe in the love that raised them. And when we chip away at that picture, it leaves them feeling uneasy, confused, and sometimes even guilty for not realizing our pain. We forget that our spouse isn't just our partner. They're also our child's other parent. Talking badly about them, even gently, puts our kids in an emotional corner. Do they defend one parent? Do they say nothing? Do they carry that tension into their own relationships? None of that is fair. Instead, we can choose to look for the good, the laughter, the teamwork, the shared efforts over the years. Maybe our partner wasn't perfect. Who is? But maybe they were also loyal, or dependable, or strong when it mattered most. Just saying, we had our tough times, but we loved each other, can protect dignity, tell the truth, and still keep your child's heart safe. While we're on the topic of children, there's something else that needs to be said, something that's often the hardest: letting go of comparisons. As parents, Especially with more than one child, we often fall into this pattern. Maybe one child is doing well while another is still figuring things out. Maybe one calls often and the other rarely checks in. Without thinking, we say things like, "Your sister always remembers my birthday," or "Why can't you be more like your brother?" We don't mean harm, but it can cut deep. Even the child being praised may feel pressure to keep up, and the one being compared may feel unloved, like they're falling short. It can create distance between siblings, breeding quiet resentment. But we know, deep down, each child has their own journey, their own struggles and victories. Some take longer to find their way. Some take more risks, make more mistakes. But they all deserve love without comparisons or conditions. When we talk to them, let our words show that we see them for who they are. Say, "I see how hard you're working," or "You've always had such a kind heart." These kinds of words don't just encourage, they heal. As you sit with these thoughts, maybe you're remembering things you wish you'd said differently, or not said at all. That's okay. One of the gifts of getting older is that we're still learning, still growing. And right now, we can choose a new way, with more patience, more kindness, and more understanding. Take a breath with me. There's more to talk about. But for now, just remember this. Silence, when guided by love, can speak louder than words. And the things we carry gently, with love and thought, may become the greatest gifts we leave behind. It's a quiet truth that often comes with age, that peace sometimes lives, not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. And as we keep this gentle conversation going, just between us, let's talk about a few more things that, while deeply human, are better kept to ourselves. Let's talk about something many of us do without even realizing, focusing too much on the negative side of life. Getting older isn't always simple. Our bodies change, our routines shift, we lose people we love. Sometimes it can feel like the world is speeding up without waiting for us. It's normal to feel frustrated, even angry now and then. But if our words turn into a steady stream of complaints about health, the news, or everything we've lost, it wears on us. And it wears on those around us, especially our kids. They hear it, even if they seem busy or distracted. They catch the tone, the disappointment, the sadness hidden in our daily words, and it affects them. They start to worry. And when we begin leaning too hard, emotionally or financially, on our children, it can quietly add stress to even the strongest relationships. They may never say it, but they feel it. They feel guilty for not doing more or overwhelmed from doing too much. And we feel that too, the fear of losing independence, the pain of needing help. No one wants to feel like a burden. But the truth is, asking for help isn't weakness. It's how we ask that matters. If there comes a time when we need support, ask gently, not with pressure. Say, "This isn't easy for me to ask," or "Only help if it works for you." Give them the freedom to say yes or no. And if you can, start now. Take small steps to protect your independence. Maybe that's reviewing your finances, adjusting your budget, or being honest about what's needed. Our kids deserve to live freely, without the weight of our unspoken needs. And we deserve to age with grace, knowing we did what we could and asked for help with love, not guilt. Now, let's talk about something very personal, our health. As we grow older, doctor visits increase. We feel new things, physically, emotionally. It can be scary, and it's only natural to want someone to listen. Often, that someone is our children. We want to keep them in the loop. We want comfort, but we also need to find balance. Telling them about every new ache, every checkup, every fear can be emotionally draining. For them and for us, they care deeply, they worry, and if they constantly hear about what's wrong, they may feel helpless, like they should be doing more, even when they can't. That's not fair to them. Of course, we should include them in serious health decisions. They have a right to know. But maybe not every small thing needs to be said out loud. Some updates can stay between you and your doctor, unless they truly matter. What your kids need most is to hear that you're okay. A simple, "I'm taking care of things," or "there's nothing urgent right now," can ease their hearts without hiding the truth. This balance between honesty and peace is one of the quiet strengths of growing older. And perhaps the most powerful thing of all is letting go of guilt, not our own, but our children's. As we age, we want connection. We crave visits, calls, the sound of their voice. But our children have lives of their own now. Families, jobs, challenges, dreams. Sometimes they seem far away. But distance doesn't mean they love us less. It just means they're becoming who they need to be. Encourage independence. When we encourage their independence, even when it leaves us feeling lonely, we're saying, "I love you enough to let you go." We're saying, "You don't owe me your time, but I cherish it when you give it." We free them from guilt, and in doing so, invite them to come back, not out of obligation, but from genuine love. And isn't that what we want? A relationship that feels light, joyful, unconditional, where they know we're okay, even when they can't be there, where they know we trust them to live well, love deeply, and come back home when it matters most. These choices, to stay silent in love, to speak only what heals, to release rather than clutch, are not easy, but they are powerful. They say, "I trust you." They say, "I've lived enough to know what really matters." So take a breath, sit with these truths, let them settle into the quiet corners of your heart. You are not alone in this journey, and your wisdom, spoken or not, has more impact than you may ever realize. There's a kind of strength that only comes with time, not the strength of muscles or fast footsteps, but the quiet kind, the strength to let go, to stay silent, to choose kindness over correction. And as we reach this final part of our conversation, I want to gently bring together the threads we've been weaving. Because what we don't say, what we choose to withhold out of love and wisdom, can sometimes speak louder than any words. Let's start here. You don't need to explain every difficult feeling to your children. We've lived long lives, full of changes, surprises, and moments that didn't go the way we planned. And it's tempting, especially as we grow older, to want to share it all, to sit with our adult children and say, "You know, I wish I had done things differently," or "I was never really happy in that part of my life." But these confessions, though honest, can often do more harm than healing. Your children are not your confessional booth. They are not the keepers. They are not the keepers of your regrets. They are the next chapter of your story. And while they deserve to know you, the real you, there is a difference between openness and oversharing. Some truths, especially those filled with sorrow or second-guessing, are better kept in the sacred space of reflection. Not because we want to hide, but because we want to protect. Because we know that they too will have to carry their own worries, their own memories, their own regrets someday. We don't need to pass ours down to them. Instead, we can offer them something more powerful: perspective. The wisdom of someone who has lived through hardship and still chooses hope. The grace of someone who doesn't need to be understood in full to feel loved. We can say, not everything in life is easy, but it's still worth it. We can say, you don't have to fix the past to have a beautiful future. These words, simple as they are, give them room to grow without the weight of your unfinished grief. And here's something else to hold on to. It's okay to keep some dreams just for yourself. Maybe you always wanted to write a book, or travel alone, or pick up painting again. Maybe those dreams feel distant now, but they're still yours. You don't need to explain why they never happened, or apologize for the life you lived. You simply get to be proud of surviving, of loving, of learning. You are still here. Too often, we feel that aging means fading, that we've said all we need to say, done all we're going to do. But that's not true. You are still here. You are still becoming, even in the quiet, even in the pauses between conversations and visits and long afternoons. You are still shaping the world around you, especially the world your children carry forward. So what should we tell them? If we're not passing down complaints or regrets or comparisons, what is left? Tell them they are loved. Tell them they are enough. Tell them that you trust their judgment, that you see their efforts, that even when they fall short, you're proud. Let your words lift, not weigh. Let your silence be a shield, not a wall. And if you must speak of pain, let it be the kind that leads to healing, not guilt. We are the bridge between generations, the memory keepers, the root from which their lives grew, and what we say, or don't say, becomes the soil that shapes their futures. If today's conversation stirred something in you, take a moment, breathe. Conclusion. Maybe there are things you wish you hadn't said before. That's okay. Maybe there are things you still long to say. That's okay too. Every day is a chance to begin again, with more gentleness, more purpose, and more presence. And to those of you listening who feel alone in these thoughts, know that you're not. Thousands of us are walking the same path, quietly navigating the deep waters of age, love, family, and change. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you're meant to be, growing in a new way. If this message spoke to your heart today, I invite you to leave a comment below. Just a simple yes if you found even a small piece of comfort here, or share your own story if you feel moved to. Because sometimes, what heals us isn't just the advice we're given, but knowing someone else out there understands. If this video gave you a moment of peace, a new perspective, or a little inspiration, please like it. Subscribe to the channel for more conversations like this, gentle reminders that you're not alone, and that your story still matters deeply. Here's to living our later years, not in silence, but in intentional silence, in words that heal and choices that protect, in love that doesn't always need to be spoken, to be felt, and in the quiet courage to let go of what no longer serves us, so we can make room for what still can. You've done more than enough. You are more than enough. And your presence, your quiet, loving presence, is a legacy in itself. Here's to living your best life at any age.